Hey everyone, Jack here, TalkNorwichCity. Hope you're doing well. Attention now turns to Everton for Norwich City Football Club. We're going to be talking about the aftermath of the defeat to Liverpool on Tuesday night and of course looking ahead to Everton this weekend. A big thank you as always goes out to OneFootball. You can download the app using the link in the description. It's completely free. Loads of you have already done so. If you haven't already, it's well worth a shot. Why don't you download it, give it a little spin through. If you don't like it, you can always delete it. You've lost nothing. If you like it, you've gained something beautiful like Daniel Farke signing Emi Buendia. There's something good to be had with OneFootball. Link in the description. As I say, attention now turns to Everton for Norwich City, and it's a really difficult few weeks ahead for the players, Daniel Farke, and the board members at Norwich City, because I think they're going to have some difficult decisions to make coming up. 5 straight Premier League defeats, 15 straight Premier League defeats if you take into consideration the form since Project Restart. You've heard all of the stats now. There are plenty of week-on-week record-breaking, damning statistics for Norwich City. I think the one that worries me the most is the fact that I think we've gone 40 straight Premier League games where we've gone behind and not got anything out of the game. And I think that shows a degree of fragility for me. You can take it, here and there, but when you're doing it on a consistent basis, that doesn't sit too well with me. And a trip to Everton is not really the trip you want. Having said that, though, we did win there last time, and Everton are prone to a little slip up to a side that are maybe not doing so well, and I think that's an understatement to say that Norwich aren't doing well. They lie 6th in the division at the moment with 10 points on the board. It's been a relatively solid start for them under Rafa Benitez. They do have some injury worries going into this weekend. Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin, Pickford, all likely to be out. 3 very important players for them. Still, though, I think Norwich City at the present moment could go up against a fairly average Championship side and struggle. I mean, the side they went up against on Tuesday night, Liverpool, there were 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds in there, second, third choice kind of players all across the park, and it was very routine for Liverpool. And Norwich have to turn this around quickly, because I think Daniel Farke has a larger degree of security with his job than most Premier League managers, but he's not completely immune to getting sacked. And I wonder for Stuart Webber, what the tipping point is this season, because we don't have the excuse this time around that we haven't given it a go and spent money. We've thrown significant financial resource at this, and financial resource at players who, if we were to go down to the Championship, are not going to stay at the football club. The likes of Milo Rashica and Christos Jolis, Josh Sargent. These aren't players who I think will stay at the club if we were to go down in the Championship. I think they're different to the likes of Buendia when we signed him, and Marco Stiepermann and Timu Pukki. Them kind of players you always saw sticking about because they were kind of, I don't think they deemed themselves Premier League quality. I think the likes of Rashica and Sargent have come to Norwich solely because they want Premier League football, and they were offered that at Norwich City. So we now need to find a way to stay in this division, and at the moment we don't look like we've got the faintest of ideas how to do it. I think going forwards there are elements of hope. Against Liverpool we created chances, we've scored a couple of goals this season. I think in portions of games throughout this campaign we've looked half decent going forwards, and I think the newfound formation with 3 or 5 at the back on Tuesday night allowed us a bit more freedom going forwards. We were able to get our wing backs in behind, and that created some space. The real worry for me is the defensive line, and I think it's a worry for Daniel Farke as well. I don't think he knows his best defensive line. I've written down on my notes, do we play Omar-Bamadele next to Ozan Kabak, because arguably they've been the best performers of the season. Having said that, both of them have made individual errors this season, but you've then got a 19-year-old next to a 23-year-old, and that 23-year-old hasn't played much football. That doesn't seem good, and it feels like we're clutching at straws. I feel like whenever you're looking to an 18 or a 19-year-old and saying, well, they're going to be the saviour, something's gone seriously wrong there. We've got Hanley, we've got Gibson. Hanley's been really poor this season. Ben Gibson hasn't been too much better. That's the worry. We've been bombarded down the left. I thought Yanulis was okay on Tuesday. Whether he plays him or Brandon Williams, I'm not so sure. We have to start stopping crosses. And I thought Max Aarons had one of his worst games in a Norwich City shirt on Saturday against Watford. So collectively, we're in a really bad place defensively. And I think system-wise, we don't look much better either. I'm very surprised Farke swayed from the 4-2-3-1 that has suited him so brilliantly over the last kind of 3 seasons. And I don't know why he sacked off. Like, there's no apparent reason. We've got the players that suit that formation. And we've just swayed to something different that clearly isn't working. I was very surprised to see Daniel Farke dig out Christos Jolis in his post-match interview after Tuesday night's game. It was because Christos Jolis took the ball to take the penalty and he wasn't on penalty duties. Daniel Farke said, he's made this mistake once. I will make sure he never, ever makes this mistake again in his whole career. They're damning words for our golden boy, our youngster who we paid significant money for. Jolis's penalty wasn't terrible, and yes, it came at a key moment and he missed it. That felt slightly harsh, and it felt slightly hypocritical of Daniel Farke to come out and criticise an individual young player just days after he was criticising fans for doing exactly that. Like, where are we at? And that kind of comment, to me, feels like that trust between player and manager just isn't there at the moment. It also throws up a terrible theory that where are our on-the-pitch leaders to go, Christos, I love the enthusiasm, mate, you're not on it. Take the ball off him and give it to whoever was on penalty duties that night. I assume it was Adam Eder. I tweeted the other day, like, we always saw, didn't we, in the Russell Martin era, when something went wrong, Russ was wheeled out. Now, whether right or wrong, it was always Russ facing up, and it felt like even when we weren't performing, we had a man who had the ability to turn the tide in a dressing room and turn the tide on the pitch. And I don't quite know if we've got that at the moment. Like, Hanley's the captain, but is he captain credentials in the Premier League? I'm yet to see it. So lots of question marks for Norwich going into this weekend. And I don't think, and I'm going to say this, I don't think Daniel Farke has too much time to turn this around. And Everton and Burnley aren't the places you want to be going to try and get results. But this is all self-inflicted. We have built this pressure ourselves because we haven't collected the adequate points nor put in the adequate performances at the start of this campaign. And I felt like Tuesday night's game against Liverpool was at least an opportunity to try and win some fans back over and just try and get something, some substance, some evidence to build off. And we didn't see that at all. And I was very surprised that he changed the team so much. I think the things I want to see on Saturday, I think Pukki and Sargent work well together. Let's see that. Let's just bring back the 4-2-3-1 with Norman in there. Let's revert back to something we know works. And I'm really interested to see whether Christos Jolis gets on the pitch, considering his clear falling out with Daniel Farke on Tuesday night. Lots to think about for Norwich City. Let me know how you're feeling going in to this Everton game. We'll have an opposition preview coming out tomorrow with Ped from Toffee TV with a bit more of an analytical look at Saturday's game. As I said, a big thanks to OneFootball for sponsoring this video, and I will see you on Saturday for the review. Try and keep your heads up, people. See you later. Bye-bye.